And we're back with more Vac. It's me, Val. It's him, Nate. And Nate, the Olympics is over. They had the closing ceremony. It's done.
Yeah, the flame's been extinguished.
Yeah. Well,
how do you
the
feel about
non-flame, the little LED light goes out. Well, I think it delivered.
The opening ceremony was more impressive. Sorry, the closing was more impressive than the opening.
That's not a good thing. Because the closing is the handover.
Yeah.
The giving it to the next host. That's when they had the Tom Cruise flying down out of the stadium, on top of the stadium. He flew
Mission Possibling off the roof.
Who else got a kick? The Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, Snoop Dogg's got the Olympic flame at the moment. I think he'll make good use of it.
Does he really have?
Well, I don't know if he has it, but he was sort of in possession of it. He was one of the last men seen alive with it.
Right. You reckon he just sparked up a joint on the Olympic torch just on the way out?
Almost
but it was a LED light, so it wasn't providing any heat.
He'll figure it out.
I think the torches that they bring the flame on with the little gas cylinders in them, they'd make great lighters for Snoop and the crew. Okay, so I was bigging up the breakdancing before the Olympics started. I told you how exciting the breakdancing looked like it was going to be. And look, it delivered. Firstly, let me just say this. Anyone who's like judging her performance without watching it, I'm not a fan of that. If you watched it, I want to hear what you have to say. If you saw a couple of pictures, like everyone's seen the kangaroo pose picture by now, but if you haven't seen the full performance, I don't want to hear about it. Now,
I was finding it difficult to get the full. Did you?
I happened to be like, the breakdancing's on. I'll watch it. And the Australian came out. It was RayGun, the 36-year-old PhD in cultural sort of studies, breakdancing about 12 years, put on a performance against the United States competitor, who was way better, by the way.
Her confidence was amazing.
I've heard a lot of things. On this.
Yeah, I'm not going to get at her too much. She had a great effort. I mean, it was controversial. It's been amazing how controversial it is. It's a bit like Sally Robbins fucking up in the rowing, and she's the only rower I know. She won 0 points in the breaking, and she's the only breakdancer I know. And I think she put us on the map.
Absolutely put us on the map. Put herself on the map, we should say. I watched the performance. I thought it was... It's really hard because I'm not a breakdancing expert, but the United States competitor was clearly doing more impressive stuff.
Yeah.
When I was watching the breakdancing of the dudes who were qualifying for the Paris Olympics, it was the final, by the way, but they were pulling off some pretty gnarly stuff. I'm talking about like jumping 45 degrees and sliding on their head for a little while. That doesn't sound like a good idea.
No.
They made it look cool. This is something I will say about the breakdancing sort of thing, is all the little bits in between of the routine. It's
the shuffling.
It's very gymnastics. You know how gymnastics, they'll sometimes do a tiny little jump and a little twisty twirl and then do like a, hey, I'm here now. And they'll do a little, I'm here, little on their tootsies, little I'm here move. It's all that little in-between shit that I just get really bored of. Anyone can sort of shuffle on the spot and I say anyone. It
engenders a vibe, doesn't it? Just engenders a vibe.
It's sort of...
That's all it does.
It creates a bit of rhythm.
How many moves do they actually do you say, that stand out? So do you reckon they do 2 actual moves in a performance and the rest is just engendering a vibe?
No. It's probably 5 different move sets with 5 different I'm just a cool guy or cool
fillers.
Move. Yeah. And sometimes if you're an Olympian going to the breakdancing, as an Olympian, when I watch the breakdancing and the first sort of 15 seconds is the shuffle, I think to myself, whoa, this guy's got to do something right now. He's got to start the move set because at the moment he's shuffled for too long. Too much shufflage, not enough dancage.
Yeah, anyway, I figured it out. Yeah.
So RayGun went out there, did some Australiana stuff, I think her performance to qualify, because I think she won an Oceania tournament, right? Which should mean that you're the best in Australia because you well, if you beat everyone in Oceania, if you're the Oceanic champ, you're probably the best in Australia.
Yeah. Maybe they forgot to get the invites out for that one or something. Like she gives me a default vibe. You know, she slipped through the cracks someone or she knew someone. She just gives me that kind of vibe.
Breaking for 12 years, right? Breaking for 12 years. There are 18-year-olds who have been breaking for 12 years. You know what I mean?
That's not really much of a qualification, is it?
The whole backlash. I didn't like the heavy backlash. Like I don't like getting in her face about anything. That would never be okay. But the fact that they were like, oh, they're putting off the kids from ever getting into it. I just thought to myself, look, not many kids are going, wow, that 35-year-old PhD chick breakdance is really good. I might get into it. I don't think she's inspiring the youth. There's that 14-year-old
like
skateboarder.
A golf pro? Why did she look like a golf pro as well?
Again, what she was wearing, was that even up to her? Or is that just a uniform thing? Either way, it didn't look great. Yeah. But it doesn't matter. It's okay. Yeah. I'm never going to pick on someone for what they wear, especially if it's part of a subculture that I don't understand.
No, that but just when you were saying like maybe it's not, the kids aren't that excited about it. I mean, the clothes don't add to that. That's all I'm saying.
The story was so big that Anthony Albanese, our Prime Minister, had to weigh in. Did you know about that?
No, what
he had to weigh in. He said, look, RayGun is a B girl, and she went over and represented Australia, and she did us proud, and she tried her best, which is the official line. Well said. Yeah, that's the official line. That has to be the official line. Yeah. If he went out and went, RayGun is a national disgrace, if it was up to me, she wouldn't be allowed back in the country. That sort of performance is not acceptable. I will say this though. If she's trolling, if she went over there, won the Oceania with some pretty impressive shit and just decided, I'm gonna just tank the Olympics, then I'm upset because it's taxpayer money.
I saw some memes, the things you would do for a 2-week paid holiday in Paris.
Breakdance.
I liked her energy. Her confidence.
She went for it.
She must know that she's not. Does she know she's not that good, or
she just won the Oceania tournament? She's got to be amongst the best in the world.
Her confidence. She just oozed confidence. I was like, wow. Just I would come out there a little bit sheepish, thinking this is about to.
Well, you couldn't.
She's a national treasure. She's fantastic.
I couldn't agree more.
I reckon she's our Eric the Eel. Do you remember Eric the Eel?
Yes. Are you talking about Eric Musambani?
Yes. I think it was the 2000 Olympics.
It was the 2000 Olympics. Roy and HG covered it. So
yes, they certainly did.
On the dream.
Yeah. And he
in what way are they similar?
Well, it's raising questions about whether there should be thresholds for certain events. What kind of milestones and threshold did she pass to get to? You don't want to get on the big stage at the Olympics and kind of be a bit of an embarrassment. I'm saying Eric the Eel was one of the greatest moments in sports history, but he almost had to be saved from the pool by a lifeguard in an Olympic swimming event.
Well, he was struggling to finish 100 meters?
100 meters, man. I would have pulled his pants down, and I don't really do that much swimming.
Well, but so he represented Equatorial Guinea. The other competitors in the race were actually disqualified, so it ended up being a solo run. And he did struggle towards the end. I don't think the lifeguards were called, but maybe there was some glances.
There was some concerns. I reckon they were warming up, mate. Because I think you'll find that the first 50 he did in maybe a reasonable...
He was blitzing it at the start. He was absolutely going for it, flailing hard, riding high on the emotions, riding high on the adrenaline rush. The crowd's behind him.
Swum 100 before because he was up shit creek without a paddle. I reckon he's done a couple of 50s and he was like, I reckon I can double it on the day. I've made this mistake before.
I've done 50. I can do that twice. Absolutely chopped through 50. So, or maybe I don't know. Maybe their Olympic swim pool over there isn't to code, and maybe it's a 30-meter swimming pool.
They don't have a swimming pool in Equatorial Guinea. They don't have a swimming pool.
Got to have one.
They don't have one. Apparently, that was his thing. That he came from a country that did not have
Are you sure that wasn't a Roy and HG bit?
I'm not sure about anything, but let's just roll with it.
Have you got any info on Eric Musambani? Can we find out what his time was?
It was 152 or 156. I remember it was just sort of under 2 minutes.
Rate for a swimmer?
Well, I can tell you what the going rate is. The going rate at the moment is actually very topical because that Chinese swimmer just broke the world record for the 100. I think he. I need to check what it is because what he did is absolutely obscene, and the people are pointing at it and having some questions about the legitimacy of it because he beat the field. A very, very good 100-meter field by body length. He did. So this is the Chinese swimmer, Pan.
Not Musambani.
No, sorry. So I just want to know what the going rate is for 100.
Yeah, well, I've got some info for you as well.
Okay. Let me just get the world record time. What's your info?
Eric Musambani famously swam, as we just said, on the 19th of September, a time of 1 minute 52 seconds.
Yeah.
This was the slowest time in Olympic history by far, and Musambani had trouble finishing the race, but had won his heat after both his competitors were disqualified due to false starts. Achievements and titles on his Wikipedia page. Personal best. So he later became the coach of the national swimming squad of Equatorial Guinea. So he's just a big name.
He's player coach.
He inspired the kids, 100%. First dude to get an Olympic swimming pool from Equatorial Guinea. He's the man. Achievements and titles. Personal bests. 50-meter freestyle, 27.9 seconds. 100 meters, 56 seconds, 0.9.
It's not bad.
He improved on his 1 minute 52 by a whopping 54 seconds.
Wow. So he's the most improved. He is the Jake Waterman of swimming. I reckon Jake Waterman is undoubtedly the most improved player this year. Just on a side note.
Fair enough.
But, I mean, improving your time by almost a minute.
Yeah.
So Pan of China won the 100 by over a second and beat a very Australia's Kyle Chalmers.
Oh, yes.
Who got silver. Yes. And I've seen some coaches, I don't know enough about swimming, but a lot of people are saying you don't beat a field like that by body length in 100. You can see everyone else is pretty much equal and he's a body length in front. He's clearly a talent, if nothing else. He has to be an absolute talent. Even if you're doping, he's a talent.
Okay.
Anyway, some people are... Of course, when you win, whenever you dominate, people are going to ask questions. He's very young as well. I think he's like 18 or 19.
So next year, the Olympics is over, but next year, 2025, we get the first run of the Enhanced Games.
We should do that.
What do you mean?
Is that a thing?
That's a thing. It's by an Australian businessman.
Yeah.
He has invented an Olympics where roids are fine.
Are there safe limits to these things? Because I assume that when you know you're getting tested, you kind of have to toe the line a little bit so you don't go overboard. And you don't want to turn up looking like...
What do you mean overboard?
Well, like because you're going to get tested. So you probably only have a little bit, then you try and flush your system.
Well, you're talking about Olympians.
Well, if whoever's doping in any sport, like dopers exist.
Yes.
So you have a little bit and then you're trying to hide it. You're trying to mask it. So you're trying to toe the line, like do what, you don't want to have huge amounts of it overwhelm your system and just be so obvious that the detection's going to come.
Yeah.
So you're doing things within a safer level, maybe because you're trying to just get enough to get an advantage and not get caught. But if you're allowed to do it, how much testosterone, the God particle of sports, can you take before it gets dangerous?
There are rules, apparently.
Oh, good.
So the Enhanced Games is meant to be the first event of its kind to support performance-enhancing drugs and not follow the rules of the World Doping Association agency. Performance-enhancing drugs will not be mandatory.
So you can be clean, but you'll get judged by the other competitors.
you'd probably get smashed by the other competitors. But
No,
anyway,
they'll point the finger and laugh and be like, mate,
what are you doing?
yeah.
Why are you here?
Are
Go
you
to the
better than
actual
us? You think
Olympics.
you're better than us?
Yeah. Such an event has been discussed hypothetically for many years, but never been realized. Prosthetic limbs and shoe technology will be allowed.
Tech
President
doping.
of the organization says that for insurance reasons, only FDA-approved substances will be allowed.
Oh, okay. Can't use any of the wild Chinese shit they got going on.
I don't know what it has to be FDA approved. So it's got to go through the Food and Drug Administration of America in order to be included.
America-centric, isn't it?
Well,
Safety.
I think that might
Safety
be where they're
first.
planning
Safety
it, I guess.
first.
Is intended to be annual and to include track and field, swimming, weightlifting, gymnastics, and combat sports.
Ooh.
Combat sports with dudes juiced to the gills? Is this okay?
I'm interested. I've always thought about doping. I met a guy who said he could dope me. That sounds weird.
Yeah, I've thought about it as well, only as an experiment to be like, let's, if you wanted to, I don't know, rock up to Christmas lunch or something and be like, hey, I've undergone a couple of changes and I'm just jacked now.
Oh, I just wanted to find how much better I could do a half Ironman, just to see how much doping helps, what I feel like on the course, and how much improvement I get.
Maybe you should just get placeboed. I'll dope you.
Yeah, okay, you dope me up. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
But that idea was, have you seen it? I don't know if it interests you, but there's this documentary called Icarus.
I've seen it, yeah, where they got that Russian guy.
Yeah, so the guy had the
Russia.
same idea that we had of he wanted to dope, but he wanted to do it well, and he wanted just to see how well he could perform under using these illegal substances. And he thought, what better person to use than I've got this ex-Russian head of the anti-doping thing. So he knows a lot about doping.
Yeah, well, he was part of the state-sanctioned doping of athletes.
Yes, and it came out like whilst he was talking. So he's does documentaries and is essentially a reporter. And whilst he was in communications with this Russian guy, it started to unfold, and this Russian guy for whatever reason, had to, for his own safety, he sort of, he couldn't go back to Russia at this point, but he had now this friend that is a reporter that he could sort of use or release this information to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's been confirmed as well. It's not like this guy just was on a frolic of his own.
There's a reason why when Russia go to the Olympics, they're represented under, I think it's the ROC, which is the Russian Olympic Commission or whatever it would be. Yeah.
Because state-sanctioned doping. And it was at an Olympics that occurred in Russia. So they were taking the samples of athletes and swapping them out for clean samples.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy. So this Enhanced Games, though, it's being headed up by this Australian billionaire, I assume. This is a response to the Enhanced Games. The CEO of the Australian Sports Commission said, "I cannot see any responsible and ethical person thinking the Enhanced Games is even remotely sensible."
It's interesting at a minimum. It might not be sensible, but it's very interesting. And if people want to do it and not compete in the Olympics,
Sport Commission
that's fine.
can't say, whilst I find the concept interesting, I cannot see any responsible and ethical person.
That's just my opinion.
So
that's my opinion. I'm not saying they should be saying that. I'm not the Australian fucking anti-doping.
First of all, anytime you preface something by saying, I cannot see any responsible and ethical person, you kind of, whatever comes after this is being done by an irresponsible and unethical person.
Confirmed.
So you can't go, but it's interesting. I mean, it might be incredibly unethical and irresponsible, but could be a little bit sensible. You don't have to say.
Why is it unethical if everyone's on the same playing field where you're allowed, where you know other athletes are doping and you're allowed to dope? There's nothing unethical about it. As long as you're not competing against clean athletes problem is, and they don't know it.
This is the problem. And I'm going to use the, it's a slippery slope argument.
That's fine.
But people are going to go to the Enhanced Games and they're going to cheat. They're going to do more than they're allowed. They're going to take non-FDA substances. So they're going to have to create the
There'll be regulations.
enhanced games where they go, no, we don't do any of that. We do nothing.
Wow.
You do whatever the fuck you want.
That was my concern originally. When you said there's enhanced games, I was like, oh, well, how do you stop people from like going too far? And I was like, you have regulations. So it makes sense. It's a bit like you don't have doesn't actually make any sense, but you have, I find it interesting that the heavyweight title like has a weight limit. I know it's not the same thing, but I was like, I thought it's just you could be any weight, because that's like why would you have a limit on that? But maybe it's just for the sport to look good, because you don't want like a 500-pound dude just rolling in there like a bowling ball. That
could happen. I guess they put upper limits on it. Maybe you're talking about something like an open weight tournament they might do where it's open weight, but they would never. I think weight classes is what actually gets it regulated in places like Nevada, where boxing is a thing and combat sports are a thing. The fact that they have weight classes legitimizes a lot of the problems that maybe a commission would have with the combat sport itself.
I think they should have weight classes for doping where you can have like 1 milligram of, testosterone per liter. You can have 2 milligrams of test, because what you do is you test the athletes and the testing will reveal how much they have.
Who knows how long they've got to knuckle down on all these details, but I imagine they would have to keep a log of everything that they're injecting or whatever.
Yeah.
They would have to keep a log of that and then submit it as part of their
transparency,
their application.
Yeah.
And they say, this is all the things I've done, and now you can take a couple of samples and find out that's exactly what I've done.
If you exceed certain thresholds that they have in place, then you're out.
I don't know that. Maybe not. Maybe they'll have just thresholds. Go slap on the wrist. Get out there. Go on.
Well, that's irresponsible. That's irresponsible. As long as you regulate, everything can be responsible. If it's unregulated, if you can go, hey, you can just do whatever you want, then that's a problem.
That'll be the enhanced games for people who don't think that the enhanced games is hardcore enough. It's just like fighting. UFC. It's just like slap fighting. It's barbaric. It hits mainstream, and then we want something completely different. Let's get in a phone box, and that's what they're doing now. So,
do they still do the car jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, car jiu-jitsu, phone box fighting. It's all the things still.
So funny.
It's wild.
That's so good. Hey, I was thinking, I've solved a few problems. I've got my problem-solving hat on.
Right.
About this RayGun issue. It wasn't actually just RayGun. You said that you didn't really like the fillers that some of the breakers were using in between their more impressive.
They might need a break, though, from all their spinning on the
athletes.
head.
The athletes. So that's part of it. I reckon we go for extreme braking. You've got 20 seconds. It's like a T20, right?
Wow.
Test matches.
Wow.
There's all
sprint.
this, a sprint. Yeah. So you got 20 seconds. You got to bust a nut. Like you got to fucking go for it. You get out there and you're not jumping around doing kangaroos or sprinklers.
Someone would come out there and they'd do like all filler stuff and everyone's going, whoa, what are they doing? This is gnarly. No one's ever done this before. And maybe when like 2 seconds left on the clock, they just jump and do like a triple, quadruple backflip thing. And everyone goes, they just broke the world. They just broke everything. Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Wait till the last second.
Or they actually get point values for every single thing, like a foot going like this and a foot coming back down and a spinny and a head spin. And it's literal just numbers. A little ticker goes up with all the moves that you managed to complete. And it just goes,
yeah.
Like as you're moving, it's just going, you're getting points for all that.
It's like one of those games in Japan where you have to hit the
Dance Revolution.
Yeah, be like that, but with your feet. But there's a hand version of that as well. But there's Dance Revolution is the foot
version of that. Yeah. I think Guitar Hero is even a version of that.
Could you imagine if RayGun got done for doping?
Oh, that'd be a good finish to the whole thing, wouldn't it? That would be sweet. I saw footage of her in a Parisian street with people going like, go, do it again, like do it, RayGun. And she put on a performance for the crowd. So look, you're going to have your haters. You're going to have your haters. You're going to have people who love what you did. Just,
I think she's a national treasure. I honestly think she's our Eric the Eel. She went in there. She didn't meet any of the thresholds. We thought she was drowning.
It's not going to be at 2028.
No.
It's not going to be at the 2028 Olympics. No. But maybe they'll bring it back for Brisbane and get RayGun out there again as a 44-year-old lady,
let's roll her
and
out.
just
Yeah.
boom, just bust a move.
Maybe she could go in the.
Sweet.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. That'd be 44. She could still do it.
I can't believe she didn't win.
Well, I can't believe she didn't score a point. I mean, you think one of the judges would just felt sorry for him.
Again, we don't know how the sport works, so maybe there's a good reason why she couldn't get a point.
No, give her a point. I don't care what the reasons are.
How do you justify it?
Yeah, she did a head spin, sort of. Like she put her head on the ground. I reckon that when Australia does its Mount Rushmore of Olympic athletes, I reckon we'll have like maybe Ian Thorpe.
Okay.
Betty Cuthbert.
Okay.
Dawn Fraser.
Kathy Freeman, bro. Where's Kathy Freeman?
No, one gold medal. She's not on there. She's not on there. She's the first Indigenous athlete to, I think, win a medal or at least a gold medal.
She's kind of the icon of our Olympics, though.
No, but you've got Dawn Fraser, first swimmer to win the same event over 3 consecutive Olympics.
That's pretty wild. That's 12 years.
12 years. Betty Cuthbert, only athlete to win gold in the 100, 200 and 400 of all time.
She can do it all as long as it's in the water.
No, that's running.
What? Running?
Yeah.
Gold medals.
In 1, 2 and 4. No one's ever done it.
Well, we don't really produce sprinters. Like
this was like 56 Olympics, I think.
Yeah.
We had some athletes. See, what you got to realize is that when you host the Olympics, you start, because you know about it in advance, you as a nation starts pumping money into all the grassroots things because you need athletes that don't embarrass you like RayGun. At the Olympics. So you actually have some, when you host the Olympics.
She didn't embarrass us. She gave it her best shot and we're very proud of her for doing that. And RayGun's a B girl. She's a B girl.
Well, she should be the 4th face on Mount Rushmore, I think. I think she's up there.
But arguably done less than Kathy Freeman. Like Kathy Freeman got a point.
She's done more. She's done more than Kathy Freeman.
But Kathy Freeman got a point.
She did get a point, a big point, a big golden point. Yeah.
What they need is the Mount Rushmore reverse, where it's like the arse of Mount Rushmore, behind Mount Rushmore. And that's where you put 4 people who didn't do too great.
No points. What you need is people that didn't do so well, but they're well known. So you have your Sally Robbins. RayGun. Who else do we know that didn't do so well? Like, they're well known, but they lost.
It's really hard, man, because like,
tough.
How much of this is just going out there, trying your best and getting 0 points, and how much of this is just the stacks on that happens the next day when people look at their phones and go, "Oh, this chick did some stuff that I think is embarrassing. Therefore, I'm going to tell everyone how embarrassed I." Who cares?
What I found interesting is it wasn't just Australian media.
No, it was popping off
everywhere. I've
viral,
seen everyone, US commentators. If you look at summaries of the Olympics, I watched even 10 memorable moments of the Olympics, and they did 10. She wasn't in there. And then they did a special mention, and I was like, Jesus, she's getting special mentions in the top 10 memories of the Olympics.
Like I said, when I said Paris delivered, she's one of the moments that I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
It happened late in the piece. That helped.
Yeah.
But it was very, very strange when you picture people who are going to be breakdancing at the Olympics, the last thing you think of is anyone over the age of 30. The last thing you think of is anyone over the age of 30 should not be at a B-girl, B-boy competition. That's why it was confusing.
You got to be less than 20, don't you?
Play the kids.
It's like,
that's all I'm saying. Play the kids. Why haven't they played?
Maybe not skateboarding ages. Like, you don't. There was an 11-year-old in the skateboarding.
Wow, but a 14-year-old won it, right?
Yeah, the Australian girl is 14.
I know, it's ridiculous. I heard Roy and HG talking about it on the weekend. It was hilarious because they were doing a show on ABC over the Olympics, and they said something like, she said that she'd wanted to win a gold medal her whole life. And they say that, Roy said, they say it's never too old to dream. Well, let me just say this in this forum. It's never too young. They're the best.
They're so good.
So HG and Roy, they were tearing it up. They were actually in Paris, which is great. Oh, I have a comment about that, by the way, because I was driving down south, and there's two stories here. The first one is I had this moment when I was switching between radio stations because I was trying to tune into the football because there was some football on.
Yeah.
I didn't know who was playing. I just would turn on the football and have a listen, right? And I was on ABC because I assumed it would be live. And then I swapped to like commercial radio, which I never do. And it was, I think it was 92.9 or something, and they had footy coverage on 92.9 or something like that, one of those major radio stations.
Yeah.
And so I thought...
It's called Triple M.
Okay.
I think 92.9 I think it's called Triple M now, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I listen to
Shout
their
out.
football, yeah.
Yeah, shout out. But the difference in the broadcast is so stark. It's so wild. So on the ABC, on the ABC, it'll be something like Shuey handballs out to Duggan. Duggan kicks up the wing. Marked on the wing. He's going to play on here. He's kicked it into the forward 50. Waterman takes the grab. He's going to have a shot at goal. Right? That's the ABC.
Yep.
92.9 or Triple M or whatever is he's coming down the wing. He's going to have a kick. Harvey Norman Tippett takes a mark. And Bob Jane's T-Mart. And he has a kick. It's going towards the goal. Don't forget to pick up a fucking Bud Light. It was
yeah, the Super Cheap Auto scoreboard. What's the score on the Super Cheap Auto scoreboard? Well, it's 20 Big Mac sausage rolls in a...
That's how they've been bundling advertising for a while now, where you get the ownership of a scoreboard or something. So we'll throw it up to the Harvey Norman scoreboard. But now that we've become so accustomed to that, they don't even say scoreboard anymore. They just call it the Harvey Norman.
You get the replay and the scoreboard. We should just start mentioning some sponsors we don't have for certain things we do.
It was so wild, man. I couldn't do it. I was so confused. I thought there was a bloke out there called Harvey Norman. I thought Bob Jane T-Marts had a team or something at one point. It was really difficult to understand what was going on. And the other thing that happened was I was driving what we're going to do
is call it the Google flashback. We've talked about it before. We go, that's a Google flashback.
What's a Google flashback?
Well, we always say that we've talked about this before. Yeah. Trying to think of something that we do regularly. We can just drop some kind of sponsorship.
Oh, okay. The Baskin Robbins, we've talked about this before moment.
Yeah.
So I was on my way down south, and it was about maybe 60 odd Ks from my place is where I was heading, and I had reverse fuel gauge anxiety.
What, too full? What's reverse fuel gauge anxiety?
Yes.
Your ticker hadn't gone down.
Yeah, I think a friend of mine said, your fuel thing bubble has got caught at the top, and so it thinks. So what happened was in the off position of my car, it read as like a half tank full of petrol. So when I turned it on, it went past full. It was like 1.5 tanks worth of fuel.
Yeah,
and
got jammed
and
up
the
there.
Fuel meter thing, the rangefinder, told me that I could drive for 900 kilometers. So I thought, beauty, here we go. Fuel is literally unlimited. Something is happening in the universe right now, a magical genie or some shit. Someone's wished me free fuel. Because I didn't remember filling up. But when I started my journey, I had a full tank. And I thought, I shouldn't have a full tank. I haven't filled up recently. But I decided to risk it and drive down south anyway, knowing that my tank wasn't giving me accurate readings. I decided to drive anyway because I thought, if you break down, it's a good story. So let's go. So this is a shit story because I made it. Got there, told my parents. I said, my fuel gauge is doing weird shit. It's telling me I got more fuel than I do. And they said, you should probably put some fuel in it on the way home then, just to make sure that you'll make it. And when I put fuel into it, that's when it went to like 1.5 tanks worth of fuel. And I thought, you beauty.
Yeah, the genie's back.
900 Ks, here we freaking go. But that was reverse fuel anxiety.
Yeah,
I've dealt with the reverse of that when you're on your way home or whatever and you've got an empty tank and then the light's been on for days and you're just thinking, I'll make it. But this was
so have you fixed it? Has it
it
resolved
corrected itself. Yeah,
okay.
It corrected itself. Yeah, it's done. It's a good ending. It's a feel-good ending. It's a bit like...
a fuel good ending.
Oh, good one.
That's the Ampol moment of the day.
Yeah, that's the Ampol pun of the week.
I had a car that didn't have a working fuel gauge. It only worked when the temperature was either like warm or cold. I can't remember what it was. And so sometimes like I'd just start it up in the middle. Let's say it only worked when it's warm.
Yeah.
If I hadn't had it on if I hadn't seen the fuel in a few days, I kind of wanted to start the car in the middle of the day because it might be warm enough that it will come to life and show me how much I've got.
Right. And what was your success rate with that? Not good?
No, not good. But you just get to the point where you just refill regularly with enough time left. So you just might refill every 2 weeks and you'll always have fuel. You see, it's like not a problem.
And it never fucked up.
I never ran out of fuel because you just
You've never run out of fuel?
I've never run out of fuel, no. This car also didn't lock. I did have people did. I think twice I came back to my car and people had looked in my glove box.
Yeah, because it's open.
Yeah, because people just check for open cars. But if you don't have anything valuable, this is what I don't understand. Just prepare for the worst. If you don't have anything valuable in your car, nothing. They don't steal anything,
and they're not going to smash your window either.
Yeah, I've seen people on the street with smashed windows, and they just go straight into my car. Not a problem. And the speedo didn't work either. I had some massive issues with it.
Well, it sounds like you had electrical problems.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. They were knowing the Lancers.
And did you have electric windows?
They were. No, I didn't actually.
There was a wind down one.
I don't remember. I think they were wind down.
That would have been a dead giveaway.
But the speedo didn't work, and I didn't get speeding fines.
Yeah, you were just hyper vigilant because of it.
Yeah, I was just driving like
to the speed.
To like a reasonable speed in the circumstances, a reasonable speed. Just drive.
Love to find out what your average speed was during that time.
And you think, how am I not going to kill anyone if someone steps out onto the road? Like, what speed do I need to drive in this circumstance if someone was going to walk out?
Yeah, and you adjust for weather conditions and you adjust for all sorts of stuff.
And I was just probably just driving.
Do you think the speedo's a bit of a distraction?
I don't think we should have any data. I think a whole dash is distracting. Mm-hmm. So no fuel gauge, no temperature of your engine. Does anyone give a fuck what temperature your engine is? Really?
As long as it's not too hot or too cold, I think it's fine.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. The engine's fine. The engine just does what it does. And who needs the RPMs with most cars are autos these days?
I don't know why you'd need RPMs.
Yeah, do they even have those on cars now? I don't even know.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I can't even remember. I can't even remember looking at if my car has one.
It definitely does. But why do you need that information? Why is that important? For diagnostics, maybe? I'm not a car mechanic.
And I mean, do you know when your high beams are on and off, right? You don't need your dash. You don't need your dash telling you when they're on.
Yeah. Would it be better if it was sort of overlaid into your Google glasses or some shit?
Oh, just plug it straight into your brain. I just want the car to be an extension of
myself. Why are we still driving cars?
I don't know.
What's going on there? Is there just that many people who like driving that they will fight this tooth and nail to be able to retain their right to drive a car, which I fully support. But if the whole system went robotic, to be on the roads at that point, you're a danger to everybody.
If you need a new car, check out the Pagani Utopia Roadster. So this is what do you call it, like a supercar, whatever I don't know anything about cars, but they've just upped production from just under 50 cars a year to 60.
Whoa.
So drastic increase in production.
That is a massive percentage increase, yes.
It costs $5 million. They call it a hypercar. 5 mil, but that's factory, that's standard, and that's no variations, and everyone varies, apparently.
What do you mean? No one buys the standard?
Well, no one just buys it off the shelf. No, but that's the starting position. They go, this is the shelf one. And once you're spending $5 million on a car,
so when they're building a car, though, do they bother building it at stock, or do they just wait for the order and then build it to the spec of the person?
I think they build it to spec.
Of course,
because these are handmade.
So what they're with the stock thing though, they're beautiful promo material with the red car that folds out like a transformer. We're not making any of them because no one buys the stock because no one's going to be dumb enough to buy the stock. Everyone wants to put their add-ons on. So the stock is not on the road.
No one knows what a stock
Which
is.
is what they designed. The car they designed is not on the road.
It says that Paganis have almost endless customization. So it's an Italian hypercar. They say they'll build about 130 over the next few years. Yeah, priced at starting at $5.1 million US.
Yeah. So it's about 8-9 million. It's not good.
How do they... I wonder how many people they employ. It'll be quite a few people. I'm just wondering, what's 130? I'm trying to think what their 130 times, let's just say 5 mil a car. So 5. So they got about a budget of 800 million. How much does it make to, it can't cost much to make a car. I mean, you just slap a bit of metal together.
Well, you're making them to order as well, so you don't have any overheads. You're only ordering stuff when you need to build it.
Yeah, you don't have to store them.
You don't have to store them. Yeah. As soon as they're built, they go out the door. There's probably a waiting list,
They call that the manufacturer's dilemma, is having enough. If you make too many products, you have to store the ones you don't sell. If you don't make enough products, you could be selling more. So it's about, apparently Temu have solved this issue. Temu, the fucking bullshit plastic piece of shit. They just make rubbish. They don't have anything sitting around in the store. When you order something on Temu, it takes about 2-3 weeks to get to you, but they make it on order. So they don't have any of the storage costs. Whereas if you buy something off Amazon, it's all sitting around in a warehouse. You get it in a day or two. But they figure...
Amazon can do stuff like, we're doing a sale because we've got too many virtual reality headsets. So virtual reality headsets are $8. Everyone grab one. I don't know. That's probably what happens.
No, most definitely. Well, I don't have to worry about a $5 million car.
You don't have to. I mean, it'd be a bitch to fix. Like, you'd ring the guy up and you'd say, man, my Pagani Dicky Roadster needs to be looked at. And he goes, yeah, cool. What's wrong with it? He goes, it's something wrong with the hood. And they
He'd be
say,
like, that's $3.7 million.
He'd also say, yeah, which hood have you got? And you go, I've got the PX 4006 SG TBA rear, and I've got the GXY forward one, not the stock one, the GXY Dicky Wanker 306 in the front. And they go, well, you can bring it in, but we have no idea what you just said. Because there's like 20 of these things in existence, so I'm laying eyes on one.
Yeah, we're going to have to ship your whole car back to Italy, back to the manufacturer.
Well, actually, that part in particular, they ship the car to like South Korea, and the South Koreans put that final bit on, and then they send it. So you got to send it to us. We'll send it to SoCo, and it'll do a round trip, and all that's just going to cost is like 10 million.
Or if you prefer, they can send a team of 5 Italian hypercar engineers out to you.
Yes.
And they can fix your flat battery.
Easy. Yeah. It's like roadside assist. These like Italians come in via paratrooper or something. They just get deployed out of high-speed jets or something. The future. I think cars will soon. You know how cars come with like a tire iron or a car jack. You know how a lot of cars have a car jack in it?
Yeah.
I reckon we're all just going to have astromechs, like R2-D2s, that just come out and just go and just fix all the shit.
Is that what R2-D2 is called, an astromech?
He's an astromech, yeah. I think the reason that they're called astromechs is because I think their original function is working on starships. Like the first time you see R2-D2, he's on Queen Amidala's ship and they're taking off trying to get through a blockade that's shooting guns at them. And he's cruising around on the roof just trying to fix some shit while all his astromech mates are getting blown to smithereens behind him and getting absolutely tarped up. And when he wins the day and gets the shields back online and gets back into the thing, Queen Amidala has this moment where she's like, you're the best, R2. Like, well done. Like, who is this droid? What? He's so good. What a legend. What a great droid.
This got me thinking about in the future when everyone owns a spaceship, because there was a time when no one owned cars, and then Ford comes out with his T model Ford and starts just manufacturing these things willy nilly, and everyone's got one. And now we're at hypercars, right? So once everyone starts getting spaceships, and everyone's just got their Ford, their shitty Ford
spaceship.
Yeah, spaceship. Yeah. At some point, there's going to be some Italian that hand makes spaceships, hyper
like
spaceships.
Space yachts. Yeah, space yachts.
And they're going to be sick. They're going to look like the other.
Jeff Bezos' spaceship won't look the same as our spaceship. Our spaceship will be like, have you ever seen The Fifth Element with Bruce Willis when he drives the taxi and it flies?
Yes.
That's what we'll be cruising around in, which it sounds wicked.
It's falling off.
That sounds great. But he'll be on his, I think it's going to be called like a super galaxy yacht, and that's just not from Grand Theft Auto 5.
And there'll be no sharp edges. It'll all be like bubbly.
It'll
and
look
the
like
contours,
a sail ship.
Yeah.
It'll look like a big sail
what's
ship.
The word? It'll look like voluptuous. It'll sort of look like I was going to say like a woman, but I don't really know how that would just be weird.
Well, isn't that why?
A voluptuous spaceship. It could be a voluptuous spaceship.
That sort of makes sense. Isn't the concept of the ship
voluptuous ship?
It's probably why the ladies are the ships, because it's sort of like a womb sort of element to the ship. It's keeping you safe in,
Yeah. Oh. I like it.
And then you've got the mast, which is just a big dick. So
the mast of the spaceship.
The mast of the ship. Just talking about regular ships.
Spaceships, yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, but I'm just talking about the spaceships, airships.
Some spaceships may have big sails that extend. They have masts. Solar sails, yeah. Actually, that featured in the closing ceremony. Did you see the golden figure originally, before Tom Cruise sailed down? Did you see the incredibly golden figure drop down onto the map of the world?
Interesting. I didn't see this.
The gold figure.
I didn't watch the closing ceremony.
Oh, I just basically saw some highlights. But the gold figure looked very sort of flamboyant, really cool, kind of alien a little bit. That was supposed to represent the golden record and the Voyager spacecraft, because France produced the golden record.
Interesting.
It was a throwback. It was a Baskin and Robbins flashback memory.
Yeah.
Because I only heard the commentary over the top. Is that's supposed to represent the golden record that was made in France and put on Voyager 1 in 1977? And I was like, fuck yeah, you're talking about language.
I don't know why they didn't just go a little more literal with it. And I don't know, make a gold record and frisbee it out of the stadium. I don't know.
I thought you would like it though, because the idea of I don't know, it's like an alien coming to Earth. They're really setting us up for aliens coming to Earth, aren't they?
Okay, so it's a bit of predictive programming. You start planting seeds in society, trying to get trying to see, just gauge how they feel about potentially aliens, and if they don't react, if they don't start looting in the streets, we'll start the process of disclosure. So we'll do the Golden Man at the Paris Olympics. This is the final straw.
Yeah.
We're doing it. We're going for the big move. This is the big move. We're actually sending an alien into the Paris closing ceremony. It's a real alien. We're chucking him in. He's wearing a gold thing.
Hey, I'm going to make a call. I'm going to say that we are going that an alien, I don't know, entity will be disclosed to us by an authority of the world, whether it's a government or whatever, or just a news agency or something, but a legitimate source, before the LA Olympics.
Wow.
Or at the LA Olympics.
Wow.
They got 4 years. I thought also is weird is, say Trump wins this election, just say he does, or Kamala, really, either one of them, they will be president at the next Olympics. That feels like a long...
Will they?
Well, 4 years. Next Olympics in 4 years.
It's 4 years from next year, from January next year. So that's 20...
I think they will.
So they will. They will.
Just weird. That seems like a long time away. Like we're gonna have another whole Olympics, and at that Olympics, Trump, who could be 50, 85 at that point? Is he 85? Is he 81 now, or is he 80?
71.
No, he's 80 or is he 79? Isn't he? What? Isn't he 80 now as well?
I knew he was a few years younger than Bides. What was Bides?
I think he's only 2 younger. I think.
Okay. Let's fact check.
Because either way, when whoever won this election was going to be the oldest president ever by the end of it. Whoever won it,
except for now.
Yeah, so he's 78. So he'll be
78. Yeah,
he'll be 82.
82. It's not good.
I think that's a bit old to be
82
running the show.
Best man to run the show. Yeah, 82-year-olds can't be the best. Play the kids. They're Ray leaning. They're Ray gunning. Their presidential.
They are Ray gunning. You don't want to Ray gun it.
Well, it sounds like Reagan. First of all, I don't know.
It does. Yeah. It does.
Wow, maybe that's more predictive programming as well. A bit of Reagan. That was about 40 years ago now. I hear his name all the time.
So I just want to recap Australia's Olympics, just because we're never going to talk about the Olympics again. This is the episode for it.
I guess so.
We had the most successful Olympics of all time for Australia.
Give yourselves a pat on the back, Australia. Yeah, you as well. You're a part of this.
Yeah, I probably influenced some of the, medal winners and stuff. I would have passed them in the street. Maybe I gave them a little bit of inspiration.
It's a butterfly effect. It could have been something so minor as well and has a lasting effect.
It's amazing how much of an influence we've had on the Olympics.
It's incredible.
Well, I mean, other nations per capita have had more of an influence, but we have had Australia-centric.
No, that excellent work. Great hit rate on medaling.
We were the fourth. We were third until the last day.
It doesn't make any sense.
Behind the US and China.
You know what? I'm going to say something controversial here.
Yeah.
Are we spending too much money on sport in this country?
We might be. Clearly. We must be.
We must be. How's our space program going? Not great, but did you see how many Olympic gold medals we got?
Well, if you get them in young, you don't have to pay them much. So
I think we've been on a pathway. I think Australia has slowly been manipulating the Olympics to their own gain and to the detriment of other countries. Now, I'll give you an example, right?
Not the breaking.
There's someone on the committee. There's someone out there selecting sports, not breakdancing, who's getting the countries like Australia who are good at those sort of sports. Now, I'll explain because those words that just came out of my mouth don't actually count as a real sentence. So, surfing was added. Australians love surfing. We've got a lot of beaches. We can get good at surfing. Skateboarding, specifically street skateboarding, when the surf isn't great, the skateboard comes out. We've got a lot of skateboarders. A 14-year-old girl won the gold medal. This is part of the manipulation that the Australian Olympic Committee is putting on the Olympics, getting sports that we're good at into the Olympics.
And then you put in lots of medals for this. Also, the swimming has huge amount of medals associated with it.
We're really good at that. We love a swim.
I think we need a 55-meter sprint.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I think we don't. Not only just in the water, we need a 50.
Not in the athletics.
Yeah, we need more iterations of this. Not just 50, 100, 200, 400. We need 50.
Backstroke, then freestyle. You have to do one stroke of backstroke and then two of a forward crawl.
Yep. With some starting with a belly flop. You say, I'm the fastest over 50 meters with a belly flop entry.
Yeah, belly flop entries, different ones. We need to be pushing for this so that we can get more gold medals. We'd probably win the whole thing.
I think we could win the Olympics one day. In 2032. Because
do you reckon we can win?
Well, we've almost finished third. I reckon we could. I'm going to go out there and say
on a premiership run right now? Do you think the window's open for Brisbane 2032?
The window is massively open. Because we've already got, first we've got a 14-year-old skateboarder that just won. She'll be 22. She's primed. I mean, lock the skateboarding medal away.
Won't there be a 14-year-old who'll be just as good as her when she was 14
she's going to somehow get better. RayGun, as we said, will be 44. That's coming to your prime for something like this. It's an artistic sport. She'll have more. She's got the PhD. She's got the PhD.
Pays. Yeah.
So once she gets a little bit more experience.
Fully supportive of that.
I think we could win it.
Really? So how many gold medals did the USA get?
39, and they overtook China. Well,
so we need to double
so
our,
I think,
our
I don't know if
gold
it's
medal
39,
count.
sorry. It's
We need to double
38 or 39.
We need to double our medal count.
I think we doubled it from last Olympics.
No, we didn't. We're always in like the top 6, top 7.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
What do I type in
2020
here?
Olympics medal tally 6th with 17 gold medals.
Did we get 17?
That's what I mean. 46 overall medals.
46 overall.
46 overall medals. Yep. And then this time we got 53 overall medals. So we went up by 7. We got 7 more medals this time than we did last time.
Okay. What about this? In 2016, we got 8.
8 medals.
8 gold.
Yeah. And what's the total medal count? Total medal count? Because,
why can't I see that? So we doubled then. We've doubled before. We've doubled before. We can double again. All right.
29 they got in 2016. 29.
Yes.
That is a pretty big jump. 29 to 46 to 53. So if we're drawing the line, that was a big increase, big rise in stock, starting to sort of plateau a bit. Now, the United States got 126 overall medals.
Selfish. Are they over-indexing on sports spend?
100%, obviously. They also have 10 times our population.
Do you know who's not over-indexing? Is India. Because if you go to gold medals per capita, they were last with 1 gold per... Let me get this right. 1 gold per 234 million people.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, I mean...
What's our hit rate like? We've got 30 million people.
Yeah, ours was 1 in every 500,000.
Yeah, that's not bad.
So the winning country by medals per capita was Grenada. Grenada picked up this. Sorry, this is total medals. Okay. Yep. Dominica was the winner for gold medal. Let's just stick with the golds because I think the other medals, we only care about wins, right?
Do we?
No one cares about. You said second's the first loser, third's kind of all right.
We care about RayGun, and she didn't even get a point.
No, we do care about her, but she tried hard. We don't see second didn't try as hard. Anyway, so Dominica, St. Lucia won their first medal. They're second on the list of gold per capita. They won their first medal in Olympic history, and it was a big one. It was the 100 meters.
And it's
women's 100 meters came through with the big G banger.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah. But the biggest winner, this is the legitimate one because we don't care about, Dominica has a population
gold medals per capita. Yeah, that's a good metric.
Bullshit because it's got 67,000 people. So I think there should be a threshold number of people before you're like a proper country.
What's the threshold?
I'm going to say an arbitrary mil. You got to have a mil to be a real country. If you have 1 million people, don't come talk to me.
Wow.
Yeah. So the real winner of this is
on the Bob Jane Team Arts scoreboard
per capita scoreboard is New Zealand with 10 gold medals. That's 1 gold medal for every. It's half mil. Sorry, the one I was looking at before was total medals per capita. So Australia has 1 medal per 500,000 people, which is great.
Right.
New Zealand has 1 gold per 500,000 people.
Yeah. And it will be tough to divvy it up, but I'm sure they'll figure it out.
And then Australia sits 10th, if you include all these other non-nations.
Yeah.
With 1 gold per 1.5 mil.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So we're a big deal.
Yeah, and we just got to, increase our medal count by double plus maybe 10 or 20 and we win. And I guess the trajectory is good.
Sorry, you'll like this. It's weighted medals per GDP.
Oh, yeah,
so
perfect.
GDP per weighted medal.
Perfect.
Okay, so very similar names are up there. Okay, Dominica, St. Lucia, Grenada, Georgia. They've got GDP per weighted medal is 0.76. of their gross domestic product per weighted metal. I don't really get it. But anyway, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Jamaica.
Yeah. So basically, you just get a country with low GDP to produce a weightlifter, and you win.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. Where's Australia sit in this? Oh,
Probably not good.
Midway.
Yeah.
37. Anyway, that's not as interesting as I thought it would be.
Well, we wanted to get an idea of
US and
GDP
China
spend, but it's more about what they spend on sport that I'd be interested in. Like how much of their investment is converting into medals.
Gold medal per military spend?
Yeah, well, that would be an indication, but it's not a sporting indication, but it would give you an overall picture of where they're willing to. But the United States would be the very low of that list, even though they're the number one medaling country in the world, just due to the sheer size of their military budget. It would make that, if you did it by GDP or if you did it by military spend, very bottom of the list.
China's got a big military spend, but I don't think we know what it is.
They estimate it, don't they? It's probably about maybe 70% of what
Chinese figures. There's not a lot of transparency there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know Japan's got a military spend now? They had to change their constitution.
Yeah, because they were a pacifist state for a long, long time.
Yeah, after World War II. So, I mean, that's pretty big. They're spending 2% of GDP on military now.
It is pretty wild.
Pretty scary. Because you don't really want to box China too much. You don't want to sort of threaten them or make them feel like they have to do something about it.
It's really funny because, like, it's like having a gun at your house is having like a standing military, right? It's like having a gun in your house, right? I'm an Australian, have been the whole time, so I don't like having guns in my house. In that I've never had a gun in my house before. But if they just if the government said, "Oh, we're not going to spend any money on military this year," I'd be like, "Wow, what? None? Zero? Where's? I hate guns in my house, but I feel like the country needs a gun." I think Japan would just be responding to those kind of concerns that are out there. They're probably just checking around and going, "Has anyone got a gun in this country?" And then, nah, man, just the ones that bloke made to shoot Shinzo Abe with, the homemade shotgun. So, like, I think having a military is not. It's having like an outward-looking military that's scary.
Yeah. Having a defense force seems sensible.
Yeah, exactly. If Australia said, "Oh, we've got to increase military spending by 3.5% because we're going to start looking around," I'd just say, "Well, no,
start throwing our weight around."
Yeah, exactly. I'd just think that's a terrible, terrible idea. Let's not do any of that.
So these nuclear submarines.
Oh yeah, big dick
Is that where does that sit? Because that seems a bit outward looking. Because how much defense, how much nuclear submarine defense do you need?
Well, they could block something. I guess surely if something was coming at Australia, they could block it, right? Defensively block.
Yeah. And I think they can be used both ways. I mean, that's also.
I think it's just a good way to get a nuclear power plant moving around.
Well, you can't. The thing is, you can't find them. That's the brilliance. Apparently, it's easier to find a 5-centimeter object orbiting in low Earth orbit than a nuclear powered submarine. They're impossible to find. They don't know where they are. They're stealthy as fuck. What's interesting, because I mean, obviously, we're not going to have nukes on our nuclear submarines. We're not going to have ballistic missiles. No,
nuclear
but the
just
US
refers to the
US
propulsion and all that sort of stuff. Of course,
that's one of their arms of. They got bombers that can drop nukes. They got missile silos that can launch nukes, and they got submarines. Do you know?
Have we got any silos?
We don't have any silos. We don't have any nukes.
Well, no, but we have American military bases on Australian soil.
As far as I understand, there is no way we would allow
American land.
Even if we carved out a little bit and said it was America, I just don't think we would allow it. We're very anti-nuclear, too anti-nuclear in my opinion. But that's neither here nor there.
What do you mean too anti-nuclear? You can be anti-nuclear weapons, but pro-nuclear.
No. But we're not pro-nuclear power technology. That's my point.
Okay, yeah, because the two seem linked in our brains, at least in the collective consciousness, they seem linked.
But do you know that when you're the president of the United States, Oh, I don't know if this is the US actually. I know it's the case in the UK. I don't know if it's the same in the US. In the UK, when you're prime minister, they have subs with nuclear weapons.
Mm.
One of the first things you're supposed to do when you are sworn in or whatever you do as PM is you have to write a letter to the nuclear fleet saying what the standing orders are in the event that you lose communication with the motherland. What you're supposed to do, whether you're supposed to attack or I don't know what you do. You have to write a letter. Can you imagine how?
That's an intense letter.
That would be.
You should also have to write a letter. You on the moment of getting the nuclear codes should have to write a letter that explains that in the event of you having to use this nuke or a nuke, to write condolences to all the people who died as a result of the thing, saying how that we have to be justified in our actions and we have to be accountable for our actions, and there are lives at stake here, and this isn't a game, and all this sort of stuff. You have to be like, I'm aware of the moral, environmental, ethical, all of that stuff.
Just so you've thought about it, so you've had the opportunity, so you can say that you've actually, because I think it's fine for someone to say, yeah, no, I'm totally okay with nuclear winter. I'm voted in. This is my mandate. This is what I want to do. I've thought about all these things. I don't give a fuck. And I'll be okay. At least
the
he's
standing
thought
orders
about
are
them.
shoot first and ask questions later. That'll be all admiral.
Yeah, at least he's thought about everything and had. All I'm saying is give them due regard.
Yeah. So on the one hand, it's shoot first, ask questions later, Admiral. That'll be all. And what was the other letter I have to send? Oh, to the nuclear Holocaust survivors. Dear citizens of humanity, I write to you on this horrible day where action had to be taken to extinguish the lives of millions.
I've got a pretty sick idea, actually, coming into the next Olympics for Australia, if we're serious about doubling our medal count.
Yep.
We do a big bluff like China does. You mess with you fudge the statistics that you release. So you say that we're having a military spend of 3% GDP, X amount of dollars, but you divert that secretly. So on the face of it, into sport
or into doping. Are you talking doping or sport?
Or just sport. We can think about doping.
I was thinking about, well, there's a lot of military money there, isn't there?
Then we just blow up. We have blow up tanks, blow up. We don't actually have the submarines. We just pretend we have the weapons.
Look good on satellite imagery. Yeah.
Yes.
Also, you're funneling money into the IOC to get sports recognised that Australians are good at. What sports are Australians good at? Maybe get the darts involved.
Pickleball. Pickleball is the fastest growing sport in the world and has been for a couple of years.
But we need sports that Australians are good at.
No, my friend's a pickleballer. Apparently we're quite good. It's a racket sport. It's a pickleball, Wikipedia.
Pickleball?
Racket or paddle sport in which 2 players or 4 players, doubles or singles, use a smooth-faced paddle to hit a perforated, hollow plastic ball over a 36-inch high net until one side is
badminton?
It's like tennis, but it's a smaller court and it's a little bit...
It's like super tennis. Like super golf is super golf. This is super tennis.
I think so. It's pretty big though.
Well, there's like frisbee golf and there's frisbee. Have you seen the frisbee NFL? Where there's like quarterbacks and they're frisbeeing and people are catching it in the end zone. That's pretty cool. Make that. We have to get some people good at it. I'm trying to think of sports that we can exploit our goodness at. Maybe we just need, like you said before, more swimming events, more surfing events, that sort of jam, more skateboarding. The kickflip only.
Most kickflip. That would be sick. You just try and pop the biggest kickflip you can do, the most number of revolutions.
Yeah.
How many could you do in Tony Hawk? You could do a triple for sure.
You could do a triple.
Okay.
In most of the games, you could do unlimited. So it depended on how high you could get, really, more than anything else.
Pickleball was named the official state sport of Washington in 2022 by the state legislature.
Wow. They went all in with this shit.
2023 report states that pickleball has grown by 87.5% year over year and 158.6% over 3 years.
It's pretty good. I would have preferred if AFL popped off in the States.
Oh, that we need to get AFL in.
Well, AFL into the
sport.
Olympics.
Yes.
That's right.
That's what we need.
There we go. That's what we need. And cricket.
Because bullshit. US have
cricket.
Yeah, we would. Well,
why is basketball there and cricket isn't? They're both sports.
India might actually.
Doesn't matter. We'll smash America, and they're the ones we have to take medals off.
You're right.
We don't have to take any medals off India. India aren't getting enough medals.
Yeah,
we're going to take medals off America, give it to Australia, so we can double our medal count for 2034. We need to get breakdancing back in. We need RayGun heading the Olympic team. We need her up front.
Does RayGun have like a child? Maybe we need the RayGun Junior.
Right.
He or she will be 8 years older, but she's got all the genetics, right? She can probably pop all the same moves. He or she can probably pop all the same moves. She'll be a great coach. I just don't think she has it within her to bring home a medal.
I actually think that this will go full. She will become an inspiration. So even if she isn't right now, she is to me. But I think the story will turn, because people turn on people too quickly these days. Stop hating. Like, why is it important for you to dress someone down you don't even know?
I know.
Just let it
Let's
happen.
never hate on anyone again.
Well, no. I'll talk to you in this forum. I'll share my actual feelings about stuff, but I would never post on her Facebook.
Oh,
right?
No way.
Fuck you. You're a dickhead.
Who does that? Who does that? That is craziness. That is insane.
So anyone who's like directing hate at her is awful. That's what she's gotten down about. Like
is she down about? Oh, she would be, wouldn't she?
Dude, she got fucking crushed.
I thought she was untouchable. She just had this vibe about her, this positive vibe.
Bro, she's a human being.
Yeah, but
human being with human feelings.
This is her opportunity to rise up and just set an example.
I don't think anyone's strong enough to deal with what the levels. It's just bullying, right? Like, I was bullying her earlier because I was making gags, but I would never do any. I'd never do. It's an
amazing achievement. No, exactly.
Terrifying.
It's incredible. It's sort of a bit of fun, but
yeah, the person who can take the thought of especially if they didn't even see it, they just saw a news article and went, "Oh my god, this chick sucks," and went to go tell her somehow. That's fucked up. Leave her alone.
Yeah, if I met her, I'd be like, it would be like amazing. I can't believe you competed at the Olympics.
Yeah, I wish Albo came out and said, look, RayGun should not be the subject of online vitriol just because you guys are have read the headline. She's a person. She has feelings. You need to leave her alone. She's performed a breaking at the highest level. Fucking hell. But no, she does deserve to not be hounded by the general public.
How about this guy at the Olympics?
Own your shit as well. Own your shit. Like people think what you did was cringe. Okay, move on. Like, it's all good. Don't worry about it.
They're jealous. They weren't at the Olympics. It's awesome. Yeah. It's so sick. Like, good on her. If I can have a crack. What's the alternative? She just goes like, I'm not good enough. I'm not going to try. I'm not going to go to the Olympics. Like, you're fucking insane. Like, fucking do it. She's fucking doing it, man. It's crazy. 36-year-old PhD in like cultural studies breaking at the Olympics. It's actually like, it's sick.
It's a huge story.
Yeah. So this other bloke who's actually got talent, Matt Richardson, he's from WA. How's he? He breaks the world record in some cycling event, becoming the first man in history to go under 9.1 seconds. So I don't know how far he was going. Don't know. This is track cycling, a world I don't understand. He breaks the world record.
So they do like a few revolutions to get a speed up, and then there's only like one lap that counts or something.
I think so, because I think so. I think we have to find out what Matt Richardson did, and maybe we can find video. He was the first man in history to go in 9.1 seconds. A couple minutes later, someone breaks his world record. He gets the silver.
Ouch!
When you get beaten by someone and they had to achieve the greatest thing of all time in that sport, how unlucky do you feel?
Well, how much do you feel like it's sewn up when you do break the world record?
Yeah, you're like, mate, I've got the world record.
I think I've got this. I mean, you probably knew the other guy very well. Yeah. You probably knew the other bloke very well and probably thought, man, this guy's actually got a shot here. Like, maybe wind conditions indoors that day were pretty good. Maybe there's new helmets this year that give you 0.1 of a second, new helmets, and he's going to get that 0.1 buff as well. Like, it's just going to.
And you might have just shown that it's possible. The other guy might have thought, it's not possible to go 9.1. It's just impossible. And then someone does it, you see it, and you go, mate, if he can do it, I've beaten him before.
Exactly.
I can do it again.
And the element, and this is similar to what you're saying, but the laying down of the gauntlet. Like this guy's laid down the gauntlet. He's just broken the world record right in front of your eyes. What are you going to do about it? You have to break the world record. It's a Karate Kid moment. It's a feel good moment. It's cool. It's fun. It's the Olympics in a nutshell. I can go right.
I've got another Baskin Robbins flashback memory. Actually, I didn't appreciate this when it happened, and it only came up through my Olympic travels of the last couple of weeks. It came up actually when I was considering who should be on the Mount Rushmore of Australia, Australian sports. This guy shouldn't be on there, but he did something that was amazing. Do you remember that diver, Matthew Mitcham?
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, the name sounds familiar to me. He competed in the Beijing 2008 Games, and China had won every gold medal available in diving, and this was the last diving event. I think it was the 3 meter, or I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, it wasn't the 10 meter is all I know. It wasn't the 1 meter, it wasn't the 10 meter. It was somewhere in between. And down to his last dive, he needed the best recorded dive in history to win.
Unbelievable.
And he did it.
Did he though?
He did. He pulled off
but did he, though?
The highest difficulty dive in the
But it's a sport that gets judged.
I mean, he did it. He got judged. He was judged.
I get it. But when you're a judge, you are also being judged. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you're a judge, there is heavy scrutiny on you, the judge, to judge correctly. Essentially, the judges are being judged. Now, if someone needs to achieve the greatest thing ever, and it's up to you to decide if he did the best thing ever. I mean, the difficulty of the dive is on paper.
Yes.
The difficulty of the dive is a number.
Yes.
That's something that they decide.
They
go,
multiply
I'm going to do a
so
I'm going to do a twist
score
and
you give
blah,
them,
blah. Exactly.
You give them a score based on just the quality of the dive, and then it gets times by the difficulty multiplier.
Yeah.
And that's how he got the highest recorded dive of all time, because they said
they still have to write down an arbitrary number and judge the thing. Now, there was a friend of mine. He needed 100% on his final assignment to pass English in year 11. He needed 100%. Did he get it? Ask the question.
I think he did.
He did. He did get 100%.
But that's a little bit different, because the quality of the judges in this context.
All I'm saying is that the judges get scrutinized for a reason.
And what are you saying about these judges? Not that you know who they are. Do you think there was something pro-Australian about them, or anti-China, or do you think that they, in the moment, they just wanted to believe?
I think they looked at each other and they wouldn't be allowed to do that.
I love how you're making these. I'm just telling you about this story, and you're like, well, what I think happened is I
think they looked at each other and said, are we going to call that the greatest thing ever? And they said, yeah, we are. And they went, oh, shit, we're going for it. We're doing it. We've set a new benchmark. We've now made a precedent. This is what it looks like, the greatest thing ever. No, look, I'm sure that the judging was all done above board and correctly. I just don't understand any sport that has judges involved.
Do you think this factored into it? I don't think it did, but apparently he came out as a gay athlete, or as a gay man who was also an athlete, a few weeks before the Olympics.
What, you think that helps judges?
Well, you tell me. The quote I have here, particularly in China, this is the interesting thing. China was quite, their laws weren't very pro gay at the time. They've come off a little bit. But this is a quote. He also became the first publicly outed gay male athlete to win an Olympic gold medal, cementing his place in history. This is 2008. Is that right? That can't be right, can it?
It's not all right.
It's not all right. It's not all right to win a gold.
It could be right, but I don't think it's all right.
It is. I've seen other quotes saying it's one of the great gay athlete victories of all time. Because obviously you've got Ian Thorpe before him, but he wasn't He wasn't publicly out as it. He wasn't openly gay. I don't. When I read that, I was like, that can't be right.
That can't be right.
That can't.
It still can't be right. It still can't be right.
I'm interested though. It actually sent me down a rabbit hole of
gay athletes.
But I didn't actually get to the bottom of it. I got sidetracked because I found out ShaÇarri Richardson, who's an amazing sprinter, she got the silver in the women's 100, who's a very flamboyant character, really sort of controversial. I think she's awesome, but she gets a lot of heat for being so over the top. I found out she's bisexual because they've got a list of the LGBTQ athletes.
And you went down a rabbit hole of just, oh my God.
Well, I was like, well, she's on there. Whoa. Because I was like, it's cool. I like it. And it's sort of, I'm watching a sprint documentary and she's one of the main people in it. And they haven't, the sexualities never come into it, which I like. But I did wonder that when she was celebrating, a lot of people run to their partners. And I was wondering, she never had a partner, that she
didn't have a girlfriend or a boyfriend.
She was celebrating with her mum. But it did. No, that's great. But it just occurred to me, like, there's a lot of celebration with their respect.
Just because you have a sexuality doesn't mean you have a partner.
Doesn't mean you have to use it. She's very dedicated to her sport. She's amazingly dedicated.
Yeah, you'd have to be. Yeah. That's a point that I've made to you in the past about how, like, if an AFL player, for example, looks really good and clean cut and nice, I don't think he's dedicating enough time to his craft if he's got time to look good. And it's just something that I think about a lot, especially, if they've got a very particular grooming methodology or something. I'll just think, well, obviously you're not spending enough time kicking goals, or you could be just spending another 10 minutes or so kicking a couple more goals, having another jog or something. I don't know. But I want my athletes disheveled nightmares. Because it tells me that they're dedicated.
Yeah.
It tells me that they're driven.
I think this gets me thinking, because there's no openly gay AFL players, are there?
None.
Either.
Ever.
None.
In the history of the game.
That is crazy, isn't it? That is surprising.
I think there's an asterisk there. I think that it has to be during their playing career.
Yes.
Where they've come out. Because I think people have come out since.
Yeah.
I think people have come out since playing, but I think that the overarching sort of sentiment that I get is that the environment is not really conducive with someone coming out.
Yeah.
It's a big boys club, I guess, and that's how they are. I think that's how it's viewed.
I think totally. I can understand.
And I can understand that.
But do you know what's even worse than that? Like that I think that's probably part of it. It's complex. But the other part is the heat that you're going to get, just the media attention.
Yeah,
you don't want to be the
I
first
didn't like
one.
it. I didn't like it when Gil said that, because Gil said something to that effect. He said something like, "Oh, you don't want to be the first one because
which is really sad,
because of all the media attention."
Yeah.
And he had to almost immediately walk that back, because it sounded like he was discouraging someone from coming forward.
Yeah, no,
if they wanted to.
But yeah, that would be. I think that's an actual factor.
Can't we just decide as a society that if someone comes out, we just go, yeah, we accept you for who you are anyway.
The media, it's a story,
fuck all the people who are turning it into a story.
I know.
He's a football player. Who they bone is none of our fucking business. Kick the goal, handball the ball. I don't care who.
Absolutely.
I don't care about anyone's sex life.
No, but you might not click it. Someone's going to click it. Someone's going to click the story.
I don't care. I'm going to click it.
Yeah,
I'm going to click it because
it's going to create a
story. But I wish as a society we could just go, we don't actually care, because we don't. We don't care.
We don't care.
Okay? So just don't make a big deal out of it. We cool.
What they need is maybe a number of people, like a group of people, so you can't focus. The media is like, there's too many stories, I'm overwhelmed. Or maybe
it would turn into the biggest story in the world.
We need a false flag.
No, it would turn into the biggest story in the world. It would be like the gay wave in sport that went around the world, because like 50 AFL players got together on the weekend and decided they were all going to come out together, and it sent this shockwave around the world of just gay athletes everywhere coming out, which would be great. Don't get me wrong. That sounds amazing. Let's do that. Let's have it. But either I want it to not be a story at all, or be the biggest story in the world about unity, about respect for other people's private lives? How about
and just
that?
not a big deal.
And
Like
just not a,
you
or
just-
that. Or
yeah,
the,
yeah,
not a
no,
big
but I
deal.
mean, no, it could be both. Like, it could be both. Like, it's a story, but it's like, no one loses their mind over it. But
Or
I'm just
if you're
surprised.
responding on
what's going to
either
happen
side of the
first?
spectrum,
What's
if you're
going to happen
responding-
first? An
yeah, go
openly
on.
gay AFL athlete or disclosure of aliens?
Well, I think you've said disclosure of aliens will happen before the Los Angeles Olympics. So
Will there
you're
be an
actually putting a
openly gay
timeline on
AFL
this.
athlete in the next 4
Yeah,
years?
yeah, I think so.
I hope so.
I think so. I don't hope so.
Because the longer
I just
it,
wish
no,
no
the
one
longer
gave
it
a
goes
shit.
on,
I wish no one gave a shit.
No one should care. But the fact there's zero means that there's
it's not
something. Or no. But the fact there's no. Yeah, sure. is like people are people in. It's a thing. It's a thing because statistically it doesn't make any sense.
No,
it's like hundreds of people.
Yeah.
Hey, so you were showing me a game. What's that game that you were playing just before we started?
It's a half sword. It's called
Half Sword.
Yeah.
Okay,
and it's not really a game. It's just a demo.
It's a demo, but it reminded me of something I was watching. It came up on my YouTube. YouTube thought this was something I might be interested in, and I couldn't resist. This is what happens when they give you like a bit clickbaity sort of title. It was a 3v1 MMA match.
I've seen these. Was it Eddie Hall? Was he a very big guy versus three short boys?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Eddie Hall's like a bodybuilder.
He was a very big boy. And it was in another language?
In the past.
Was it in another language?
He's English.
Yeah, okay.
Like he's British.
But the commentary seemed
probably
to be
in
another
Russia.
language.
I have no idea. I have no idea where they held that. But yeah, what did you think of that fight? He was just beating him up, right?
No, he lost the first round pretty bad, but they couldn't really inflict damage on him. They all just hang off him, and like there was one or two of them and he
Didn't he knock him out?
Well, the first round he survived, and everyone was quite impressed.
Yeah.
And then I think it was a 2-minute round, and then in the second round he managed to latch on to one of them and put him in a pretty vicious guillotine, and he put him out pretty quick. The other two were just wailing on him because once
he actually put him out.
Put him out, and he's on top of him, and then the umps have to try and get in there and extract this lifeless body from this lump of people.
280 pound, yeah.
And then it was 2-on-1, and now the crowd is like, the
I seem to recall him like
rising.
backing up on the cage and just like starting to swing everywhere.
This might be a different one. I don't know who the guy was that you said. And then he managed to get another one in a guillotine, and the other one can't inflict damage to him. Like he was losing badly, but then it was the embarrassing moment, the sheepish moment that this lightweight fighter had, where it's a 1-on-1 versus a monster, and he knew he was just going to get ragdolled, and he did.
So what happens? Did he just tap?
He eventually got his back, and I think the guy knew he was done for.
But you've seen the Russian one where it's like 2-on-2 or 3-on-3. And as soon as it becomes a 3-on-2 or a 5-on-4 or a 5-on-3, as soon as it becomes that, the snowball effect of people just getting unnecessarily beaten up for no reason. Like, I've watched like 10 of those fights, and it's no point have I ever seen the one guy beat them up, like actually win.
Yeah, that's what I found interesting about this. The one guy won against 3 people, but they wasn't fair fight in that.
Not really. Not really. In a lot of ways, you'd want to be him.
It wasn't fair
like
to be. This
guy.
is the thing. It wasn't. No, but I think
really.
they typically lose. The crowd was going nuts. I think they were quite surprised that this guy won.
Yeah. Okay.
That was the gist. I'll send you the link. I've got the link.
The weights, they weren't like the same weight.
No, nowhere near it. He was way bigger. That's the problem. Yeah.
Right? Just if you're really good, like if Anderson Silva goes out there and they go, right, the first 10 people to run into the cage get to fight Anderson Silva, he would beat all of them up. He would just punch them all out. It'd be great.
Yeah. Well, the 3 smaller guys did look like fighters, at least.
Okay, this isn't the one I was thinking of. So, this is not the Eddie Hall one, because Eddie Hall is like a super heavyweight. This guy's not a super heavyweight. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, it's just something for your viewing pleasure. I've
got something for you.
It made me a little bit awkward because anything where it's 2-on-1 or multiple people on one, I feel like it's not fair. Even if there's size difference, I just don't like it.
It might be. Like I just said, Anderson Silva versus 10 people is not a fair fight. In the 10 people in favor of them, it's not a fair fight. So it does depend on skill. It's got to be skill level.
Yeah. Doesn't the first guy just run straight at him, cop a front kick to the face? But then the second guy is right in. Because you see how these three guys attack this big guy.
Your best chance
they jump on him
win,
like a pack of dogs.
Your best chance is that he falls over on one of the corpses he just made. Like Anderson stacks it on the dude that he kicked first, and it's like 7 people on the floor, and he just trips over him, and then you can jump on him. That's your best chance.
I reckon 10 of our mates could take Anderson Silva.
You reckon if you picked the top 10?
Yeah, no, you'd be in there. Just 10 of us.
In?
10 of us. Yeah, you're in. I reckon I could have
I'll grab his leg.
Have Garno, both the Garnos.
I'll grab his leg.
Yeah, don't be the first one in. Someone just needs to bum rush him. Like
Absolutely
one guy
terrifying.
just needs to, and you're going to cop a flying knee, and you're probably not going to make it.
Yep.
Right? But then you just
okay.
clear that corpse out of the runway and let everyone else.
Get him out of
here.
Yeah. I will leave you with this. My friend did tell me last night. He said I found video of the year, and I just thought, what's video of the year? And he said that Gabby Garcia, which we talked about before, is fighting Craig Jones at the Craig Jones Invitational, and they had a face-off video. Yeah. It's a 54-minute interview that they're sort of in there with. But the funny thing is
something you're leaving me with for later?
Oh, this is homework. Anyone who wants to check this out over the next 7 days, definitely check it out. We may talk about it again. But the reason it's funny is because there's a guy who's being the interviewer, and he's sort of sitting in between them, and they're just talking the whole time. It's sort of it's a fireside chat with Gabby Garcia and Craig Jones, and it's being headed up by this guy who's doing a kind of bit. He's doing a bit of a role. He does this like Brazilian. Well, he does this like really hammed up accent, and he's very, very funny, but he's very, very inappropriate. And the whole interview looks like it's the weirdest video I've seen this year. I'm going to have to show you it later.
Okay,
but
I'm excited.
It's got everything in it. But this face-off and the build-up for the fight is massive. They make deals about money. They make deals about all sorts of shit. Pretty sure at one point he puts his hand out. Craig Jones puts his hand in front of Gabby Garcia in a handshake me now pose and says, "If I tap you, OnlyFans collab."
Oh,
like if I tap you, you got to bone me on camera so that I can make money.
Okay, all right.
What the fuck, man? I'm so confused by this face-off. Anyway, it's an intergender Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu match that's going to happen at the CJI, which is the Craig Jones Invitational, and they're like one of the main fights. So I'll leave you with that. We'll see you next week.
Check it out. I've got a super cheap auto fact of the day. Simon and Garfunkel were originally called Tom and Jerry.
Well, we can all figure that one out. It's good that they changed it out. Simon and Garfunkel, iconic. Tom and Jerry. Who the fuck knows who Tom and Jerry are anymore?
Well, Tom and Jerry were originally called Jasper and Jinx.
Oh, well, you didn't say you were going to give 2 super cheap auto facts. Okay, now I'm spending them all up. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.
See you, mate.